Hello and welcome to the Friendly Banter podcast, episode number 4. I'm Cade Zook and I'm here with my co-host,
Brandon Yoder.
Last week, it was a busy week. Our schedule was all messed up, so we're going to try to get back on it with a podcast.
Tonight, I got poison ivy over the weekend.
You got poison ivy over the weekend?
Yeah. It's inside both my elbows.
I'm not even going to ask how that happened, but okay. Episodes plan on resuming to the normal schedule going today's Monday, so Monday, that's, an oddball. Usually we're not dropping one on Monday, but then we'll be back to this Wednesday and then this Saturday, keeping up the daily content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and just continue to push forward. If you do listen to the podcast and you like what you hear, you like us, you like what we have to say, please follow wherever you do listen to it. Giving a rating really does help, and we really do appreciate that. With that being said, let's move into episode number 4. So, the NBA world got some unfortunate news this week, or the past week. Jerry West, the man that inspired the logo, unfortunately passed away. He had his hands all over the influence of the game. I know growing up for me, one of the 3 guys that I would know pre-Bird and Magic's era was Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. A little bit of Kareem too. He came a little bit before, but he also was around that time. Those 4 guys were kind of the legends we all knew about way before our time, or even our parents' time. I loved cooking with people in the old 2Ks with Jerry West, so definitely a heavy loss for the NBA family. I know, Brandon, you actually met him when you went out to your camp. What are your I don't know what type of interaction you had with him, but what do you have to say about the passing?
Yeah, Jerry, he led a couple kind of segments for us. A lot of it was just talking about his experiences and stuff like that. He was talking a little bit about kind of his, because obviously past his playing career, he kind of moved into a front office role. Mm-hmm. I know he's with, Clippers, and he was with the Warriors too. I don't know if he was ever officially a general manager of a team, but he always did have a very big say in NBA front offices. I remember we did tell us that he really liked Dyson Daniels coming out of the draft, and this would have been right before his rookie year, correct? Or would have been year after? I want to say it was coming into his. Yeah, I think it was coming into his rookie year, but he was pretty high on Daniels. And then afterwards it was a little bit of kind of a meet and greet because we're still kind of a bunch of kids, and it's literally Jerry West.
West.
So I took a picture with him. He said he liked my hair, which was that honestly was probably the longest my hair has ever gotten. Now, it wasn't much longer than this, but I also didn't have a hat, so the top was kind of a lot too. But I took a picture with him. He said he liked my hair. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we lost him and Bill Walton pretty close to each other, but
yeah, Bill Walton too.
Yeah, the NBA will always feel both of them, and Jerry West helped build the Warriors super team, to be clear. He was involved in that team, as well as bringing together Paul George and Kawhi. So, even past his playing career, he definitely made his presence felt in the NBA, and, our prayers are with his family. And with that being said, let's move on to current NBA Finals. Game 5 is going on right now. Game 4 was interesting. Did you watch any of that game?
I wasn't able to watch any of it live, but I did take a look back at a lot of it.
I felt
kind of the two.
I'm not gonna lie, but I went back and watched too.
Nice, yeah. A couple of the main takeaways of that game were number one, the Mavs role players finally hit their shots.
Finally.
Yeah. After combining for 5 made threes in the first 2 games.
Horrible.
I don't remember what they made in game 3, but in game 4,
it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. In game 4, the players outside of Luka and Kyrie hit a total. It was 14 of 23, I want to say. So 61%. It was a ridiculous shooting game for them.
It was.
And they absolutely needed it. That's kind of my biggest concern going into the series was if they were going to make their shots. They didn't make them early in the series. They lost. And then now they finally made their shots and they won. So that was a big change. I guess it wasn't a schematic change, but it was something that did change. But then on the defensive end of the ball, Dallas, first off, Jason Kidd has always had the kind of the stereotype around him where he knows one defensive adjustment, and that's to just pack the paint. And they did it in this game, and it got them the win. Remember how Boston was kind of doing early in the series where they would have Porzingis out on the perimeter, him and Horford, and then they would put a guard down on the block. That way, Kyrie was essentially the rim protection for Dallas. Yeah. So Kidd's adjustment to that was to just simply don't care about whatever center's out on the perimeter and stick Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford right in front of the rim. So that way Boston couldn't finish at the rim. Boston was horrible inside the arc. I want to say the percentage was like in the 30s. It was very bad. So that defense was very effective, and Boston didn't kill him from three in response.
And they really haven't all series. Like Boston has not killed them from three.
Yeah.
In really any game, game one they shot decent, but they haven't had a game where they just shot like the absolute life out of the ball and just make it a scenario where Dallas has no chance of winning because they just are getting outshot. It hasn't happened. It has been Dallas just playing poorly on both ends of the ball, but it hasn't really been Boston just, hitting their threes, which is kind of surprising. I kind of figured that would happen at least 2 games this series.
Yeah, and this was the game where Dallas kind of forced them to do that, and they weren't able to do it. So that was kind of the big adjustment in this series. Dallas simply no longer respecting Boston's centers from deep. And then kind of the other change on the offensive end for Dallas is not so much of a change, but they played a lot sharper in terms of, sticking to their principles where it's, the floor was like pretty consistently spaced out, in a way where obviously there's a little more spacing is a little bit more complicated than just being out on the 3-point arc. They really kind of tried to stay away from the ball in a sense where, that way Boston couldn't kind of help in on the gaps and kind of take away driving lanes from one pass away. And Dallas's response is just kind of push guys a little bit farther away. That way, their 2 super amazing offensive players aren't getting crowded so much at the point of attack. So I allowed them to kind of just go to work and operate a little bit better. Also, it looked like less pick and roll and more kind of heavy isolation, which definitely worked. Luka and Kyrie were amazing inside the arc. Neither of them could hit a 3, but it didn't matter in this game, honestly. But yeah, kind of again, the main thing was Dallas packing the paint and Boston not being able to hit their shots in response, and then Dallas finally hit their shots.
Yeah, I thought the effort defensively from Dallas was way better. A lot less complaining from Luka. He stayed within himself a lot better. During Game 4, they did a lot of. They would switch their centers instead of following, like you said, to keep the rim protection there, to make Boston have to work for any type of point they're going to get. I liked how there's this one clip from the game, and you have Dante Exum and Josh Green both closing out on the same guy, and they were across the court. And while it was, not great defense, it just showed that the effort was on a whole new level, which is kind of crazy. We got to talk about effort in the NBA Finals being, having better effort. Like, took you going down 3-0 to have better effort.
Yeah, the effort should be like ridiculously high from the start. I don't know why it's Dallas
effort. Yeah, I don't understand.
Also, in the glass really showed up where the glass was kind of a real indicator of like how much effort Dallas was putting in. obviously, actual watching the games, that does where you see effort too. But
Yeah.
Derek Lively on his own had 7 offensive rebounds, and
Derek
Boston
Lively
as a
was
team
great.
had less than that.
Derek Lively was great.
Yeah. Also, the funny thing about how you mentioned 2 guys both closed out, it was Tatum was on the left wing, and then one of the 2 was at the top of the key, and then the other one was in the right corner. So he literally went from as far away as you can get within the half court over to Tatum and contested the shot. Or no, I don't know if he actually shot it. I think he drove and then missed.
Tatum, he passed to Horford, and Horford couldn't get it off of the shot clock violation.
Oh yeah, because Tatum had a slow read on it. He didn't realize he should have went to Horford until it was too late, and then Horford couldn't get the shot off in time before the shot clock violation. Yeah, yep. I remember that worked out now.
That was, it's just frustrating to watch. Like, I don't know. I love Luka, but you're the heart and the soul of the team. You can't sit back and complain and cry and do all that every possession for 3 games in a row, because you did hurt your team a lot, actually, and it just can't happen. And I hope he uses this finals as a learning experience, because he is on pace to be one of the greats, and he'll I'm not going to say 100%, but the chances of him coming back to the finals more than one time in his career is high. I think we'll see him a couple more times in the finals. But yeah, I hope he learns and really grows as not even a player, but as a person and as an individual. Because he let himself get in the way of the team a couple times too many this series. Also, actually, we do got to point this out. We said Tim Hardaway needed to get some minutes in Game 3. Tim Hardaway played 12 minutes and scored 15 points.
Hit 5 threes.
Yeah, exactly what we were saying. He might catch fire, give you a quick offensive boost. We don't know, but it's worth giving a try. Game 3 didn't happen. Game 4 it did happen. Other than that, he was horrible, and kind of like he is really just not very good in any facet of the game, other than sometimes catching fire and putting the ball in the hoop, and that was their lucky day. That's exactly what he did. I think another thing that really, really helped Dallas, though, was the fact that Porzingis didn't go. It allowed you to not worry about Xavier Tillman when he had minutes. It allowed them to be able to do some of that switching that they did to keep Lively and Gafford under the hoop and not get punished for it. Mm-hmm. I know Horford's still there, but having a little bit of minutes where you just don't have to worry about that is definitely nice for Dallas as a sigh of relief. But at the end of the day, too little, too late.
Yeah.
It's too little, too late. Mm-hmm. They did some good things, made some good adjustments, played with some heart, but should have happened 3 games ago.
Yeah. Also, the difference between Porzingis and Horford as shooters is pretty incredible, honestly.
It is.
I'm not entirely sure how much Porzingis not being out there played into Dallas's defensive adjustment of ignoring the centers, but at the very least, Horford didn't kill him, so it still worked out.
Yeah, I think from the looks of it, Dallas is down 21 going into the half, so this is probably it. Boston looks to be the 2024 NBA Finals.
Yeah,
Tatum's probably going to get his first one, so we're not going to do like a Game 5 predictions and preview or any of that, obviously. I'm just going to ask you, who do you think deserves the Finals MVP if this does end tonight?
Kind of depends on who's cooking tonight, because I know.
Let's see.
If I had to pick someone like after, we'll say last game, it would have been Tatum, or excuse me, not Tatum, Brown. But it's not like either of them are outplaying each other in this one.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, and they both had stinkers last game too, so it's not like one was performing well and the other one wasn't. It might be. I think Brown has played better in the series.
I think I would lean Brown as well.
Yeah,
it's tight.
Being said, I wonder how much Another thing with Tatum though is because he is so big, he has been kind of one of the reasons why Boston was able to run the defensive scheme that they did to win this series, because he is, so big and strong. You can put him on Dallas's centers and not get punished for it. So it depends on how smart the voters are and how much they look into the actual nuances of the X's and O's and stuff like that. That's the thing. They don't. But if they did, I could definitely see them like making an argument for that reason and then just giving it to Tatum because of that. I'm not 100% sure if I had even taken that into consideration if I'd still give it to Tatum, but at the very least, it's a point in his favor.
I think I'm leaning Jaylen Brown. I think he probably gets it though. He's been great all playoffs, honestly. What a player he has turned into. Looking at this, also Peyton Pritchard has 4 seconds to play.
Who does?
Peyton Pritchard. He's played 4 seconds.
4 seconds, goodness.
He has, yeah, and he has made 1-3.
So, yeah, my prediction of Pritchard being kind of like the underrated guy in this series was not good.
But really, has there been anyone?
Honestly, no. It's just been kind of...
I don't think there's been one guy. Maybe Lively because it's a good game 4. But I can't think of any... I can't literally think of any other good moment for any other, like, role player.
Yeah, no one's really been, like, having that good of a series, if I'm being honest. None of them are, like, just outperforming what they should be.
It probably is Hauser. He shot the
I
ball
could say
decent,
Sam Hauser. Yeah.
I say that, like... not excitedly, like.
Yeah, I mean, I am a pretty big Sam Hauser fan. I've been a fan of his for a while. So first, it was kind of just like the fact that he was able to kind of get into an NBA rotation and stick there was like a huge kind of win for me, because it was like he was a guy that I kind of like thought would be able to do that when he was sitting in the G League. And next year, Boston picks him up, throws him in the rotation, and he started cooking from there. So the fact that he is actually, having some pretty crazy success in the finals is awesome. I don't know why I forgot about him for a second there, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a Sam Hauser guy.
There's nothing special this finals, but I'd say it's probably
when Sam Hauser is
it goes to him. It goes.
It's your guy.
There's no other option. It's been brutal. And Boston just doesn't have role players.
No, they've got their starting 5, and then pretty much the 3 consistent bench guys have been Pritchard, Hauser, which are just pretty much 2 shooters. Pritchard can do a little bit more, but that's about it. And then obviously, the backup center, which majority of the time has been Horford. If not, it's either Cornette or Tillman. Being said, Cornette hasn't really played this series, so in this series it's been Tillman, but before that it was Luke Cornette.
Out of those 3 guys, I think it's Hauser, and the Mavericks have a team of 2 stars and all role players, and every single one of them hasn't been good. So, I think it was definitely Hauser. We both got it wrong, but where do you rank this finals championship for Boston in terms of recent, championship teams?
I'm not 100% sure just yet, but I do want to say it is very validating for Boston in the sense where, like, they've pretty much run it back with like the same core for the most part for years and years and years. They have kind of adjusted the pieces a little bit past off season. They swapped out Brown. They got Holiday. They got Porzingis too. So this has been very validating for the Boston front office and the team in general, where it's like, hey, you can win with this Tatum and Brown. With this core. So as far as ranking it, I don't know.
You don't have to give a specific number, but just like, is it on the upper half, average?
I'll get into that after I finish rambling. But I do want to say it is also another interesting thing about Boston being able to finally win is it does kind of play into a little bit of the concept of just running it back. Like, these guys have been in the finals or at least been in the conference finals since 2018. So if you get a core that's young enough and is good enough for a long time, you are going to get so many shots at it that there should be a year where you can finally break through. There should be a year where maybe the other teams around you have cracks, and those cracks, widen and to the point where they fall. So yeah, having a lot of longevity with a core, especially one with super high upside like Tatum and Brown, you can get a bunch of shots to win it, a bunch of chances to win it. Who knows? Maybe there's a year where it does actually happen. There's a lot of times where we see cores that look really promising, and then they only get like one or two real shots at it, and then they just come up just a little bit short. But this Boston team has been able to consistently have a real shot every single year, and then this is the year. So it is very validating for the kind of run it back approach on it, I'll say. As far as ranking it, what are we? Are we ranking like the importance of it, or are we ranking the impressiveness
just like
of
where
it?
Impressiveness, yeah. Like where would you? For me, it'd probably fall in the top tier, just because it was pure dominance. Like they didn't overcome anything. There wasn't any crazy series or anything like that, but it was pure dominance every single series, night in and night out. Dominance.
I can see that. I mean, they haven't had a series go longer than 5, right?
Yeah, no, they haven't.
What was the first round series?
5.
That was Miami, right?
Yeah, Miami in game 2 caught absolute fire from the 3.
It's been 5 games every single series, right? Or did
Pacers didn't
did Indy win one?
Pacers got swept.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But the Pacers probably played them the best, though.
I'm going to say that Pacers played them the best. So there really hasn't been any like real challengers to it. But I mean, with that level of dominance where no team has taken you more than 5 games, I think that does definitely outweigh any gripes you have about their competition.
A lot of people are talking about Mickey Mouse or asterisks, or I think it's one of the stupidest debates in NBA circles. Like it makes no sense. Like you cannot control what happens to the other team. Almost like to win an NBA Finals, yeah, there is times where teams are just so good that nothing's going to stop them. Like the Warriors teams when KD joined them. But for the most part, the team that wins the NBA Finals has things go right for them. Health is on their side. Health is somewhere along the line, not on the opponent's side. Like things just do happen. It is just how sports work. It's not just the NBA, it's the NFL too. It goes every sport. It's you need a little bit of luck usually to be the last team standing. I think it's a horrible take. Yeah, does things maybe look different if Boston has to face uninjured teams? Maybe, but like let's not kid ourselves here. Boston was the best team in the regular season. Like it's just I get it if Boston was like the number 5 seed coming in, and I get it, but that's not what happened. It was dominance from night 1 of the regular season to the final night of the season in general. Like it's been the whole year.
Yeah. Very, very rarely do you see unlucky teams actually win the finals, or just any championship in that matter. Again, like you said, you do need a little bit of luck to win a championship in any sport. Would it have been cool as a fan to see Milwaukee kind of get to the conference finals against Boston and really do well against them?
Even a healthy Brunson versus Boston would have been fun too.
Yeah. So
yeah, it didn't go the way we all wanted it, but I mean, I think the result is kind of how most people that knew basketball expected. I know I said the Mavericks in 6. I let my hating get in the way. I did have Boston beating Dallas in the finals when I made my bracket before the playoffs started, and BY can testify to that.
Yeah, I have to give you a lot of credit for that. That was a pretty incredible finals prediction.
I felt good about it, man. I don't think I had it in 5 though.
Yeah. Plus, also back to kind of the luck thing. Boston's been unlucky in the past. Again, that kind of goes to the running it back thing where you can give yourself a big enough championship window, there's going to be a year where luck is finally on your side and you can't pull off a championship like this. So and for that reason, you can't. For that reason, you really can't kind of say Mickey Mouse ring. There's no, you can't do that.
Can't do it. No, it's just a stupid thing to say.
Boston made their own luck by giving themselves this massive window.
Yeah, I mean, you can only control what you can control. You can't knock teams for that. I know that. With that being said, you gotta look at things through, the context. Like for example, I say you can only control who's in. You only control what you can control. You can't control who's in front of you. Then, like, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers team that went like 11-0, and they're like, "Oh, we're the best," and everyone's sitting here like, "No, you guys aren't. You guys have lucked your way into wins and played these horrible teams." And they completely tanked and fell and lost to the Browns big time in the wild card. That's a perfect example of like looking at it like being in like a terms of being able to predict the future. But when you have finished the job, that all goes out the wayside now. Now, if we're comparing them to let's compare them to 2017 Warriors, and that gets into a different debate. But just in terms of of rings, there's not a Mickey Mouse ring out there. It's earned. The only one that is like semi maybe Mickey Mouse was the Raptors one against the Warriors. That was tough, but
yeah, when you have two players leave, two stars leave with insanely serious injuries, there's definitely an argument for that.
Kawhi still had to hit that shot to get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really is. You can break it down really easy and tear apart that argument. It's weak. But I do think, with that being said, you're talking about letting that team grow, and they're still so young, man. They got a chance to be a dynasty, which brings us into the next point. Joel Embiid was asked about the Celtics being a dynasty. He didn't like it, but during that whole thing, he kind of gave a little side eye to Paul George. That was a lot of people interpreted as, "Mr. Paul George, would you please come play in Philadelphia next year?" So, with that being said, do you think that Paul George, we're getting the specific of the 76ers and Paul George, do you think Paul George returns, or do you think he does end up leaving the Clippers in free agency this year?
That's a really tough one. The fact that the Clippers core has stayed together as long as it did, I feel like there's less adversity against them now than there was a couple years ago. Yeah. So the fact that they have stuck together through that kind of makes me think they won't jump ship now. But, I mean, also, things happen. Paul George in Philly would be a pretty amazing fit. So I don't see kind of why he shouldn't. Plus, also, the East is possibly a little bit more open than the West. Obviously, the NBA champion is going to be in the East.
Yeah.
But as far as like, once you get past them, it's like, is Milwaukee going to be good? If they're good next year, then that's another top tier contender. But then after that, it's kind of, the East is a little bit iffy once you get past the top two teams. Even then, that second team is also iffy. So there's definitely an easier path to get deeper into the playoffs with the Sixers if you're Paul George.
Yeah, I think the Clippers experiment, in my eyes, is way past dead. Like, it is over. Kawhi can't stay healthy. I don't see a reason why he will just start being healthy now. Paul George is getting older. I think it makes sense for him to move on. I think it feels like the time is right at this point, where it's like, we gave it a run. We didn't dip at first sign of trouble, but it's just not. It's not working for us. It's not working for me, and I'm going to go somewhere else. I think a couple spots that make sense is obviously Philadelphia. It makes a lot of sense. I think that the Magic, it could be a cool little fit there as well. They need a guy that can get buckets from the perimeter really badly.
If Orlando adds another 6'9" massive player that's good on
scary.
Defense,
that's scary.
No one is going to score on them one bit.
That's scary.
The last thing, their only missing piece to that team would be like a Drew Holiday or like a Derek White, someone that can play point guard, and then is also just number one, not a size mismatch. Number two is like all defense as well. That's like their point guard is like the only defensive weakness on that team. Unless they just move Suggs to point guard, then at that point, then it's just over. No one's scoring on him. But
yeah, I think
Paul George on that team would be ridiculous.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. But he really could. He can basically pick where he wants to go.
Who's starting at point guard for them for like the whole season?
The Magic?
Yeah.
Fultz.
That's what I thought it was. But was he injured for like the whole playoffs?
No, he played against us.
Oh yeah, but he wasn't starting.
Who started?
So, they had Suggs at point guard in the playoffs. They had Gary Harris at shooting guard for the most part.
Gary Harris did start.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Fultz might have lost that starting job throughout the year. I know starting.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, Fultz only started 18 games.
He did. They were probably.
They had Anthony Black, their rookie, starting for a lot of it too. Which again, big, fantastic defender. So, you know what? I mean, no one was already. Honestly, the point. Never mind on the point guard being a weakness thing defensively for Orlando, but and even then because no one scored on them the whole year. If you add Paul George to that, absolutely no one scoring on them. So
yeah, I think it'd just be cool. But really, Paul George can go wherever Paul George wants to go.
Yeah,
and who knows? It's the NBA. Nobody knows.
Since with the kind of introduction or the revitalization of the sign and trade, free agency and cap space has never meant less ever. Anyone can sign anyone because they can just send salaries back to them, and no one ever declines to sign and trade as the team getting their player signed away from. So, Paul George can go anywhere basically.
Who do you, if you had to put it down to one team, where you think he's playing next year?
I'm just going to say the Clippers. It's kind of the safe bet. But if I'm picking for him, if he was going to leave, the clear favorite for me to actually get him would be Philly. So I'm going to say like 55% staying with the Clippers, 40% going to the Sixers, and then 5% some other team, honestly.
I think he plays with Philly next year. I really do. I think I would have it at like 40%. He plays for Philly. 25% he plays for some other team, and then 35%. I messed that all up.
No, that math works out. 35% Clippers.
There you go. I don't know why I messed something up there. Not like that. I said it and I was like, wait, did that? No, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Help me out, Brandon. It should be interesting free agency, though. I know it's not as like star heavy this year, but sometimes those are the best free agencies. That's where you a lot of teams make the move to win, especially lately. Like big time signings have not translated into winning. Just haven't. What's the last one's probably LeBron and AD coming together with the Lakers. Wow, that's kind of crazy how much like I thought the NBA was cooked after LeBron went to Miami. It just kept reoccurring. KD goes to Warriors. Like, oh man, Kawhi and PG team up. I'm like, oh, this is done for. The NBA is so over. But it's kind of reverted back. It's been nice.
Yeah.
I love this playoffs where you did not know. Like, you didn't think it was going to just automatically be a rematch of the finals. Like, I think everyone kind of knew Miami wasn't as good as they were last year, and even last year was kind of fluky. But in the West, I just loved it. The series were good in the West, man. Watching Anthony Edwards cook Denver was awesome.
Yeah.
And watching a lot of those young teams really get their feet under them was honestly, the finals was disappointing, but it was a pretty fun playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I want to make a really quick point.
24.
The introduction of the Supermax has been incredible for keeping homegrown stars on their teams. Like, we really have not seen a whole lot of just players asking out immediately as soon as stuff goes bad.
It helps.
Yeah, Supermax has been awesome.
I love that, and that's one thing. Like the NFL does so good is allowing the team that has drafted you to you're starting to see it more, but you really just don't see the player movement like you do in the NBA for a while. And whether people say that's good or the teams have too much power, as a fan of your favorite team, it is a good thing. Your favorite players get to wear your favorite team's jersey for more than 5 years. I think it's great for the sport, for, maybe not for like as a general fan base, but for your individual fan bases, which keep the sport what it is. I do think it is important to be able to keep those guys kind of together, because it's not really fun when, your favorite player, you got to tell your like 12-year-old kid, hey, your favorite player just left. Like, dude, I was crushed when LeBron left the Cavs. I was crushed when the Cleveland Indians traded Victor Martinez back when I was like 8. I bawled my eyes out. Like, baseball does a bad job at it too.
Frankie Lindor leaving, that was sickening.
That was hard. So definitely want the NBA to go down the path of the NFL and make it a lot harder for your franchise players to move teams. And not necessarily like take power away from them, but make it appetizing to stay. I can't wait though. I'm at this point, finals is done. Like, let's get it over with. Let's move into free agency. Let's move into the off season. Let's move into hypotheticals. I love it.
Yes.
All
I will
right.
say one thing about kind of the free agency side of it. Teams are allowed to negotiate with their own free agents.
Was it
their
a day
own
after the finals?
Yeah. Maybe it's not their own free agents, but you can sign extensions like the day after free agency.
I think it is their own free agents as well.
Okay, yeah. So that's a possibility. And then it's the 30th, of the month for everything else to open up. So,
and you got the draft coming up as well.
Yes.
So I love that about the NBA. Season's over and it's bang, 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 bang right away. Getting into more exciting stuff. But you got anything else on free agency, or ready to move into the final?
I don't think so. On free agency. Definitely looking forward to at least hearing some Donovan news. It seems like all the talks have quieted down about him leaving. It seems the general expectation is that he's going to re-sign.
Donovan Mitchell, buddy, you are a Cleveland Cavalier for life.
I need to see some pen on paper, man. Just give it to me.
I know. I'm with you. I'll definitely be notifications on for the next week after tonight regarding Donovan, because I don't want to see him play anywhere else. I enjoy watching him, man. He's brought back fun basketball to Cleveland. So we're gonna finish this podcast off again. We're probably isn't our best podcast ever, just because we were recording during the game. It's been a little bit all over the place, but it's kind of been the week we've had. We'll get we know what we're capable of. We'll get back on track here. But for the last segment, we're going to do a would you rather style game. So I'm going to say a player, and I'll have a list of 6 guys, and you basically say which one would you take, and just kind of work our way through it. So, would you rather have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Steph Curry?
I think I'm going to go SGA. I'm assuming we're going with a more long-term approach on this, correct?
I'd say current.
Current. Okay.
In current form. Nothing with their past or any of that. You had to play a game tonight. Who are you taking? SGA or Steph Curry?
How old is Steph at this point? 35?
He's old.
I think he has looked a little bit slower this year. He hasn't. It doesn't look like it's the same guy anymore. Still very elite, but I do think we are finally starting to see a little bit of regression from him. Obviously, there was a couple years ago where it looked like we were going to see regression, and then like the next year he was even better than ever. But now it looks like it's kind of back. So I think I am going to go SGA. The isolation scoring has been absolutely incredible. The the insane drives to the basket. Like, he generates so much rim pressure, and that creates so many other opportunities for his teammates. At this point, give me SGA.
You're wild. Give me Steph. All right, next guy, Luka Doncic.
Or SGA.
Yeah, it's SGA versus everyone I say is going to be like Luka Doncic. SGA versus Luka.
Luka. Pretty
Luka.
easy one for me.
I don't think we need to say too much. It's Luka. SGA or the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Okay. SGA. Anthony has been pretty good. He has been amazing this year.
He's been awesome.
And looked really good in the finals too. But, SGA just has more kind of counters, more ways to beat you, I guess. So, yeah, he's definitely more bulletproof as a player. So, give me SGA.
Give me SGA for now. Next year we'll see. Could be different, but I think SGA's got him beat as a player right now. Giannis.
I'm gonna say give me Giannis on this one. The offensive impact for both of them is outstanding, but the defensive impact in combination with the offense, give me Giannis on that. One of the biggest roles defensively the past few years has been the power forward weak side shot blocker. It's been the staple of like the best defenses of the past few years, unless you're Boston, because it was Jaren Jackson on the Grizzlies. They were incredible defensively. Obviously the Cavs with Evan Mobley at power forward next to Jared Allen, top of the league defensively as well. There's a few other teams with that too, but yeah, give me Giannis on this one.
Yeah, give me run and dunk, man. It's close though, but I'm going Giannis. This one's interesting at this point. SGA or LeBron?
Ooh, I gave it to SGA over Old Man Curry at this point, so I can't give it to an even older and an even less at the top of his game LeBron at this point. I'm going to take SGA again one more time. Obviously, LeBron is still incredible at 39 years old, which is ridiculous. But yeah, no, give me SGA on this.
I'm going LeBron. One game, give me LeBron. Give me LeBron over every single player in the NBA for one game still, other than Luka.
I don't know. I think SGA is just so bulletproof as a scorer and as a player in general.
He's great. Last one, Tatum.
Given Tatum's lack of just ability to keep his numbers in the playoffs and when teams can like really game plan for him, when things get tough, I'm also going to go SGA on this. I didn't realize how high I was on SGA until we started actually doing this.
Give me SGA too.
Yeah, give me SGA.
He's awesome. SGA's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's phenomenal. Who would have ever thought that Clippers would lose that trade with Paul George?
Well, crazy. I mean, I guess when it happened, it was like, this is an insane amount of picks. But most people were freaking out over the picks. They weren't freaking out over SGA. So not exactly surprised that they lost the trade, but it's a surprise that they lost it in the way they did.
Yeah. All right, so for the last little segment, Would You Rather? Again, this guy, the focus is going to be on Devin Booker. So, Would You Rather, Devin Booker edition. Devin Booker, Spider, Donovan Mitchell.
I'm going to have to go Donovan on this too. Again, it's kind of the bulletproofness of Donovan's scoring versus Booker's. When you look at like the rest of their games, they do seem pretty similar. Neither are like top tier playmakers. Neither are really good defenders either. So there's not a whole lot of difference in those aspects of it. But Donovan, he can do a lot more with the ball in his hands. His actual ball handling ability is a lot better than Booker's, in my opinion. Not that Booker's bad at it, but the ability to self-create in that aspect, self-create both for yourself and others in that, it does have a lot of value in it. Plus, also, he can get to the rim and really finish strong in a way that Booker simply just kind of doesn't. So Donovan does have a lot more kind of things to go to as a scorer. And then even in the games where Donovan has been kind of like, injured and not fully at 100%, in these playoffs, what we've been seeing from what we saw from Donovan was, he didn't have that first step. He didn't have the burst that he usually does because he was playing injured. So as a counter to that and what he did, to adjust, was he played with so much more physicality driving to the rim. He was really just moving players out of the way with his strength, and that created so many opportunities at the rim for him. So yeah, it is kind of the bulletproofness, the versatility of it, kind of just the way you can't stop him. Give me Donovan over Booker.
Yeah, I'm taking Donovan Mitchell over Devin Booker too, but I think it can go either way, and I won't be mad. I think Donovan's inside-out ability is a little better, even though Booker can outshoot him. I think Donovan's got it a little bit more complete package. Next guy, Anthony Edwards.
I'm gonna say Booker on this one.
No, give me the Ant-Man. No,
ooh, I don't know. Maybe I'm underrating Ant a little bit.
You are
from his last playoff series. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Booker on this one
for sure. I'm going Anthony Edwards. Next guy is Damian Lillard.
Now, yeah, I am definitely going to go Booker over Lillard at this point.
Definitely Booker.
If it was Lillard of a few years ago, I'd probably just go Lillard.
There.
Yeah, there's a conversation there. I think it favors Lillard a little bit better, but yeah, no, give me, as far as like this year or, projecting to next year at least, give me Booker.
Yeah, give me Booker as well. Often forgotten about, Ja Morant, Mr. Ja Wick.
Ooh, Devin Booker. I think I'm still gonna go Booker on this one.
No,
you don't like my picks lately. Goodness.
No,
Jaws he doesn't score very efficiently, if I'm being honest.
He is the Memphis Grizzlies, though.
He is the Memphis Grizzlies, and that does carry a lot of weight. But he doesn't obviously Jaws' strength is getting to the rim and finishing, right? But even then, his just 2-point shots overall, inside the arc, they're not that good. Yeah, no, despite being a very heavy interior scorer, the actual effectiveness of it isn't super great. And then obviously he's not scoring from three either. If I just look at all right, so Jaws played 5 seasons. Technically, I'm not going to count this season because it was only 9 games, but he has, out of the other 4 years, he has 1 year where he was at least league average efficiency, and that was in 2022. He really has just not shown that it's not a knock on his style of play, but he hasn't been that effective in the actual scoring aspect of it, which, it's kind of crazy to say about a guy that was averaging 27, 26 points. But when you do it with below league average efficiency, it's kind of come on, are you actually a superstar? What's going on here?
Give me Ja. You'll see. Ja will have Memphis back in the West.
Who knows? Maybe it just proves me wrong and everything clicks next season. Maybe the shooting starts getting better. Between game goes in more often. Who knows?
I think there's aspects where you're correct, where he's got to improve as a player. But what he brings to the Memphis team, his impact is felt. I remember watching a video just describing his first game back and everything that changed with Memphis. And obviously he got cut short because he didn't get to play much. But his impact is crazy for that Memphis team. He creates for everyone. He is the offense. He's the energy of that team, and he's the heartbeat of that team. He does everything. He's got a lot of room to grow, but don't be surprised if Ja Morant is holding the MVP trophy at some point in his career.
Yeah.
I'm taking Ja. Now, this one, I think, wasn't even close, but he's kind of made it close. Hopefully, Mr. Finals MVP himself, Jaylen Brown.
I'm going Booker on this one again. Despite how well Brown, you're taking Jaylen Brown over Devin Booker.
Taking Jaylen Brown.
Goodness. No, give me Booker on this one.
Jaylen Brown's defense takes him to a whole another level. Offensively, not the same guy, but he can still score at a good clip from all points of the court, and his defense. To me, I would rather have Jaylen Brown on my team.
There's no playmaking. You get some good turnovers with it too.
You do.
And then
you do, but
The defense is like, yeah, he guards on ball, but then like,
bro, don't even go
anything
defense.
other than
this isn't a
isolation
conversation.
defense.
This is not a conversation. Defense is going to be
right.
a
It's not a
plus,
conversation.
huge plus for Jaylen Brown, no matter which way you slice it. Come on now.
All right, whatever. Do whatever you want. But I'm taking Booker.
Last guy, Paul George.
Yeah, give me Booker again.
Yeah, give me Booker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting up in age. I think Booker brings more at
he's
this
not
point.
the same guy he used to be.
Agreed. But that was interesting. A lot of differentiating opinions there. You got any closing remarks or anything you want to say?
I don't think so. Bring on the offseason, baby.
Yeah, it's a 27-point game right now, so it does.
Goodness, yeah, no,
it looks like it's over. Wait, my math is bad. My bad. 17-point game. I've been looking at it off and on, and it was 20 points like the whole third quarter, but I guess they actually cut it to 17 now. It's still
17
over. Let's be
points
honest.
at this point.
It's over. Yeah, that was episode number 4. If you listened to it, you liked it again, please leave us a rating. It does help a lot. New episode will be coming out on Wednesday. If everything goes well, hope it does. Check us out on TikTok. The Friendly Banter Pod on TikTok. New videos, short videos, but new videos, just short form content every single day over there. And on Instagram, try to stay active on the X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and have some YouTube content dropping as well. But check it out, like it up, follow, subscribe. Anything really helps and is appreciated. Tell your friends. It's been a good episode. Not great. We're better than this. We'll come with the heat this off season. But thank you for everyone that tuned in. We appreciate it.